So during this lovely downtime that they're so kind to give us whenever we're playing Star Citizen, it's like you get halftime, you get stoppage time, you get the dedicated downtimes to do the things you need to do. During this time, we're going to talk about something that came up during the Aaron Roberts interview. Just covered it on Space Tomato 2. And one of the most interesting parts of this interview, in my opinion, was, if I can find it, thanks to Hater, by the way, when it's discussing whatever Discord server. If you want this kind of info, he does post it pretty regularly. We have a channel for it on our own Discord server, so you can just join the garden and get access to this. But give a shout out to my friend for getting this info translated by Kitsune in the community from the original Mandarin that it was delivered into this English. But the specific part I wanted to talk about was not necessarily a question. It was part of this question. Will narratives affect the game world more dynamically? And I told you guys this was they talked about the starting location for the game. And so if you go into this answer and you read through about halfway, he says, we will have a full story arc in the PU, as well as you can do anything you want. And then we also have to put in the new player experience. And we know that as kind of like a tutorial that takes you through the first 2 minutes of possible gameplay and maybe doesn't drop you into everything you need to know to understand this game. He says here, it's not actually in yet, the new player experience, but it's going to be very much about having players start from a very small place, not unlike Luke Skywalker and his little farm. He then goes on and gets his first spaceship. So for a new player, when you go to 1.0, the experience should be you don't get a ship right away. You start, you learn decent stuff, you get a ground vehicle, you drive to the local spaceport, then maybe you get your ship. Then you go to class and so forth. This, I think a lot of people really will like hearing that. I prefer the whole you choose where you start, whether it's you're a belter working in a salvage space station, or maybe you're a miner who is starting in an outpost that's based on refining goods from Hurston. Maybe you're a city goer and you spawn in R-Corp. But I think the idea of multiple starting locations is pretty cool. And this idea of starting from the outside and building that scale is a much better idea than just starting in a hab. So when I think about this whole early start in a little town, there's a picture here that really captures the vibe for me. Let me see if I can find it. This is some art that was made by a friend, acquaintance, a fellow Star Citizen. Beautiful art. He made a couple of pieces that I use here and there. This is a piece of art that he made, George Gazinski, and it's great work. It gives a great sense of scale. But what if they start you here? Imagine starting Star Citizen in a location like this, and there's a broken down ship on the pad, but your goal is to go out and do some multi-tool salvaging or collecting something from a local cave. Maybe you talk to an NPC or two and they tell you directions to an outpost nearby. So you go and you get a ground vehicle, drive to that outpost, and then those people give you the ship, that your starter ship. That kind of startup for this game would be so freaking cool. But what would you want? Where would you want to start if they give you the opportunity to pick a backstory and get to actually choose a specific scenario you started in? I know this is nothing information based, but I think it's really interesting to see how many different ways people imagine the space opera starting for them. I saw somebody say that they wish that they had started as a body that was being harvested in some drug lab in a pirate space station, and they came to life and they had to fight their way out and kill the pirate faction and steal a ship and get out. You get an extra dose of violence in your genes. I appreciate that. There are a couple images they've also released that really hit that frontier, starting on the outskirts, little Mr. Moisture Farmer vibe. A great one with a reclaimer that I doubt I will be able to find. This one, the derelict reclaimer with tents. Start me here, man. Oh, I'd love this. Kind of like CG Project Red with Cyberpunk, pick your character background, start. Yeah, I was a little bummed by how CD Projekt Red handled that. I think BioWare handled that much better. I expected more from Cyberpunk in that regard, for sure. It's nice to have the dialogue choices, but I thought that the beginning of the game would... Actually, no, the beginning of the game was good in Cyberpunk for the start. You're right about that, Drazen. I thought that the rest of the game would be affected more. And I think they patched more in to make that so, but still. But yeah, this would be sick. Get some missions out here, get sent out into the nearby basins and stuff, and have to figure out how you make your living, how you get off the planet. It's kind of how No Man's Sky started. You have to repair the ship and make sure you can get off the planet to expand into the game. I think it's really important for them to do that whole gating scale. If you want this game to hit hard enough, don't star engine them. Don't show them everything that they can do right in the beginning. It's impressive enough at the city level. Show them like a point of interest, and then by the time you're like 30 minutes in, then you're flying out into space. Maybe the people who already know what Star Citizen about won't really care for that, but imagine jumping into a game like Star Citizen and not knowing too much and getting to run through something like that for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I would be willing to hamper everybody else's new player experience to make sure that truly new players got that kind of an experience, because you can't match that. That'll be so cool. So what Aaron is saying is pretty cool. I hope they go through with it, and I specifically really wanted to highlight that because I think this is important for the game and something that a lot of people care about, and I look forward to hearing what everybody feels is the right way to start a game like Star Citizen. So cheers. Thanks for listening to my newest rant.